listening to the podcast. For those of you watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop your comments down below, share if you can. For those of you listening on Spotify, Apple, or any of the other podcasting platforms, please follow, give us a 5-star review as well. All of that stuff helps with the algorithms and gets us in front of more eyeballs and hopefully grows the podcast. So all of it is much appreciated. So it's Man United away to Southampton. It's the Jurgen Klopp time slot, 12:30 on a Saturday on TNT Sports. Interesting one. We'll chat through some of the big talking points because obviously I think Ugarte played both games for Uruguay over this break. I think he played the majority of one, and then he played the full 90 in the most recent one. And a lot of people really, really clamouring for him to start. Do you think that will happen, John? First of all, I'll give my opinion afterwards, and if he does, if you don't think it will happen, what do you think the outcome will be?
I think it should happen, but I don't think it will happen. I think Ten Hag has been pretty clear about not wanting to drop certain players into the system too quickly, even though doesn't appear to be a system of any kind anyway. Apparently, you've got to learn how to do nothing in order to play properly for Ten Hag. So I don't think he will start. I think Ten Hag was pretty clear in his last press conferences, and if anything, he's probably quite a stubborn guy and is not going to walk those back. So I think he's probably going to come out and say no. He starts on the bench maybe, comes on maybe for the 20, 30 minutes, but definitely doesn't start. And I think, in terms of Man United fans, I think you should be pretty annoyed if he doesn't, because I think he obviously played for Uruguay, which means that he's in good enough condition to be playing in terms of match fitness and stuff like that. And if he wasn't, those two games would have definitely helped get his match fitness up. And it's a pretty... Even though it doesn't feel like a very important game in terms of like the names, right? It's like Southampton, it's not like crazy, but I think it's really important in terms of where you are in the season and really important for Ten Hag and important for keeping fans on side, right? Like first few fixtures, not too many great results. And I think the pressure is on, right? Losing to Liverpool 3-0, as much as it hurt, kind of being bopped off the pitch. Losing to Southampton, a newly promoted team, would hurt significantly more, and I think there'd be a lot more vitriol through the Man United fan base. So I don't think he will start Ugarte, and I think Man United fans should be upset if he doesn't, because it's a pretty critical game for you guys. You need to kind of stop the rot, and in order to do that, you need to be playing your best players. And if you see Casemiro touch pitch, or if you see other players touch pitch that definitely aren't better than Ugarte, that should probably hurt a little bit for you guys, because what was the point of buying him if it's quite clear that he's not injured or anything and he's able to play minutes, and then just not start him? It's also not as if his role is like... obviously, midfielders' roles are important and they do need time to bed in, but he's a destroyer. You just need him to be a destroyer. It's not like you're asking him to do something he's never done before. You need him to sit in there next to Mainu and clap people and pass it to Mainu just over and over again. So it's not as if he's like trying to learn, like he's trying to learn how to be a bloody attacking midfielder or something. Stick him in there and let him clap people. That's like literally what he was born to do. And I'm sure, even though I haven't watched Uruguay highlights, it was what he was doing on in those games as well. So yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't start him, but it is baffling why that would happen.
Yeah, we talked about it on previous eps, and I've said, like, I get the whole logic of easing players in. A lot of managers do it. Most of them do, actually, I would say. So it's not a Ten Hag specific thing, but I think it's the optics around it. Coming off the back of getting battered by Liverpool at home, your defensive midfielder in that game playing atrociously, getting hooked at half-time, which essentially shows the need for a player like Ugarte and why you bought him. He plays 2 games over the international break. He looked pretty good from the little clips and stuff that I saw. Obviously, clips are not representative of the whole game, but they didn't concede any goals over that period, and his role is definitely a DM. And he plays for Uruguay quite similarly from the clips and stuff I saw to how we would probably ask him to play. Like, it was covering a lot of ground. It was, doing a defensive midfielder's role, but also picking it up off the back four and doing simple passes and progressing the ball without too much complication. and really that's what Casemiro's been asked to do. So yeah, in terms of stylistically, I think he's kind of hasn't got that kind of safety net to say, oh, he doesn't know how we want to play, because he basically played that way for Uruguay, and he's shown now that he's got enough fitness to at least start and give us an hour or 70 minutes. You know, I think that would be reasonable. If you play him, maybe not the whole game, but you ease him in. But you know, he's got to touch the pitch from kickoff. But I agree with you. I think with Ten Hag, the stubbornness has been one of his big issues that has kind of reared its ugly head since season 2. Because in season 1, he would make changes, he would do things, he was impacting games and not sticking to certain. Have you seen that clip that's gone round about sticking to the plan? Stick to the plan. Make sure you stick to the plan. What's the plan? Stick to the plan. Oh, that meme is class. Honestly, I hate that phrase now. I want everyone to change the plan. Don't stick to plans. But yeah, there's a big chance that he does just either put Collier in from the beginning or bring back Casemiro for some sort of remontada. But I agree with you. I think we should see Ugarte start, and we should see him play a substantial amount in this game. Another talking point, I guess, which has kind of come up in the last day or two is De Ligt, because he had, I don't want to say a rough international break, but Netherlands conceded quite a few goals. They weren't all down to him, which I don't really like how the media's gone after him a bit. Van Dijk played alongside him in all of those games, and they conceded the goals together, in my eyes. He did give away one goal, a couple of days back in the last game against Germany, where he was trying to play it out from the back, and the ball got intercepted, and then I think it was Wirtz in the end scored the goal, so he got some blame. And then I want to give Ronald Koeman an absolute blast here. What an absolute! Have you seen his comments after the match about why he basically said everything De Ligt does now is turning into goals. All his mistakes are being punished. I didn't want to have to take him off, but I had to. Like something about these Dutch coaches waffling. Honestly, it's the next level. I feel like we'll see Slot start waffling rubbish soon as well. But like Koeman, that's your own player, mate. What are you doing? You know, when everyone was giving absolute grief, Mourinho and all these different managers for sometimes criticising their players, I think Koeman just takes it to the next level. I don't know if you saw what he said about Bergwijn as well, moving to Saudi. He's just been.
I did see that one. Yeah.
He's been gunning for his players like no one's business. So yeah, off the back of this De Ligt situation, I guess there's maybe question marks over whether he'll start as well. There's probably a chance that Maguire comes in. I don't know how much longer we want to talk about that, because I think both of us will probably unanimously agree that we should start De Ligt. And we've got to try and build that centre-back partnership between De Ligt and Martinez, who also has looked pretty rubbish. So I think I hope and pray that he stays firm on that, and that's maybe one of the things that he's stubborn with, and he keeps playing De Ligt, because I think bringing Maguire back, as much as his form has improved, it's not the future. He's got 1 year left on his contract. It's quite obvious that he's not one of our starting centre-backs long term. And when Yoro comes back, I'm really hoping he's going to get pushed back a spot as well, and I'm expecting he would be. So I don't see the long-term vision in it. So there's question marks over De Ligt as well. But before we get into our predictions, then, because we've I don't know how much more we can analyse this game without kind of making it just the Ten Hag line of questioning. I'll ask you though, because I kind of answered it last week, but I'll reiterate it afterwards in a bit. But let's say United don't get a positive result against Southampton. Do you think this will affect Erik Ten Hag's future, or do you still think he'll be given a bit more time?
I think he will be given a bit more time. Just generally speaking, I don't think you can sack someone after 4 games, especially if you're Man United. Like, I think if you're more of a madhouse team, I think it could happen. Like, I could see like an Everton, a Nottingham Forest they could do that. I think that kind of suits the way that they behave. But for a Man United, particularly with Ineos, particularly with the fact that they've kind of shown half-hearted trust or faith in him by giving him an extra year and not sacking him basically and not being able to find anyone better, I think they won't go and just sack him after 4 games. I mean, I think there's always a possibility that someone can get sacked depending on the situation. Like if Southampton do you 4-0 or something, I feel like it could be on the cards that you get sacked, but I just don't see you getting beaten 4-0 by Southampton. So I think, if you come out of it with, a last minute loss or a draw or something like that, I don't think people, you will sack the manager. And I'm not really one for sacking people quickly, but one thing I will say is there's a weird phenomenon at Man United where the pressure builds up really, really, really quickly. Like I think on Ten Hag, it built up really quickly and then sustained for a long time. And he managed to obviously win a trophy that pushed it back down a little bit, got, relieved some of the pressure. And then now this kind of start to the season, he's just seeing the pressure build back up again. And what you don't want to happen is to keep him in there for too long to the point where all of the fans are just on the tip, like at the tipping point completely. And then you bring in a new manager or you give, let's say, Ruud van Nistelrooy the reins for a certain amount of time, and the fans are already kind of on edge and are not going to give him very much of a chance. So that's the only benefit I would see to maybe sacking him early if they know that he's not going to be the one moving forward or if they've seen the signs. I don't think if they drag it out, wait for ages, terrible results happening over and over again, I don't think long term that's the best thing for the club, and I don't think it's the best thing for the fan base either. So yeah, I don't think he'll get sacked after this game, but I don't think it'll be too many more games before he does get sacked. Between now and the next international break, if he's not getting, in my opinion, like a good, I would even say like straight wins the whole time. If he's not getting all wins, I would be worried for his job, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I said it on last week's pod, and I still stand firm on this. I think if he does get sacked, it will most likely be in the next international break in November, and it will most likely be because he's had a catastrophic run in these 7 or 8 games or whatever it is in the next 22 days.
Yeah.
And I focus on the league form more than anything, because if we drop a few points in Europe, we've still got time to recover that. There's enough fixtures to progress.
Yeah.
But if you see us drop points against Southampton, drop points in a big chunk of these Premier League games, and start getting really far adrift from top 4, top 6, then I think they'll pull the trigger in November. And again, like I said last week, I would have no arguments. And what you said last week, it would have been a masterclass in sacking yourself, because the structure's changed around him. He's got more players in. He's got a new coaching staff. There's opportunities for him to change certain things that are clearly not working. You can argue in the press conference about how many trophies you won as much as you want, but some of the things that are being put to you are valid around the play style, around some of our obvious weaknesses, and also some of our issues in front of goal. We don't look like we can score many goals either. So there's quite a few issues all around. So he's been given quite a lot of time and resources now to try and fix some of these issues, which have been longer to medium term. He needs to do it now. And if he doesn't, I'm pretty sure this run is going to be critical to his future as our manager. But let's get into the predictions then, Johns. Southampton against United. What do you think the score will be?
I'm going to go for a 2-1 Man United win. So I think away from home, it'll be a tough game. I don't think it'll be easy. I think Southampton aren't they're not good, but they're not in my opinion, Derby County levels, where they're just going to get absolutely bladdered by everyone. But I think you'll get the win. I think it'll be a nervy one, and I think you have to kind of play yourself into the game, and you might, go an early goal down or something like that. But I think overall, you'll just have enough quality to overcome Southampton. So, yeah, 2-1 Man United win. I'll go for a late Garnacho winner.
Wow. You think it's going to be that tight? Yeah, I mean, looking at the Southampton, the way they play, they're they're quite Burnley-ish from last year.
They are.
They actually might be more extreme than Burnley. I've got to be honest. Like I've listened to that Russell Martin speak, and he sounds like he really knows what he's talking about. But he is like, he looks stubborn in his way of playing out from the back, trying to do things the right way, pass it from back to front, scoring beautiful goals. And they just don't have the quality of player to do that in the Premier League. They can do that in the Championship to significant effect, but the Premier League, even with us, we're not even that great a pressing team. We're not even that much of a clinical team, but I still can, visualize a lot of opportunities coming when we're pressing them high and them not having the ability to break through the press on every occasion. Yeah. So I think they are going to be not Derby County level, but I think they're going to be kind of Burnley-ish from last year and really, really struggle to stay up. And I think we're probably, I won't say we're, again, like I said, I don't think we're one of the best pressing teams, but I do think pressing high up the field is something we've improved on last season. We've won a lot of, even against Liverpool, we won a lot of high turnovers. We just weren't clinical. So I'm just hoping and praying that this time we'll show a bit of a cutting edge, and hopefully we'll be able to put some chances away. So I'm going to go United to win as well, but I'm going to go 3-1 Man United. I'm just praying that these are more hopium for the goals, because we've looked pretty blunt in attack. So I'm just praying. Also, did you see that thing with Van Dijk dapping everyone up in the Netherlands lineup in the tunnel? And he just ignored Xerxes. Him and Xerxes just ignored each other. So there's some situations going on with these Dutch people, bro. There's some madness going on with them.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not dapping you up if you just beat me 3-0 and like, we're literally playing in positions where like we are literally fighting against each other and you're tickling my captain's neck and stuff. Like we're not doing that, man. And the Dutch are very direct. I think we kind of talked a little bit about Koeman and how he talks. I think the Dutch ain't messing about, man. If I don't like you, get out of my face. I'm not chatting to you. Get out of it.
Yeah, there were no niceties. It's not like England camp where everyone's like hugging up with their rivals. The Dutch are keeping it old school. But yeah, big up Xerxes as well for just holding that down. You know what I mean? We don't shake hands with our